um, as I mentioned in my email, I've got a specific theme for this summer course, these 6 weeks, which is connected with some of the things that we touched on during the week of the course that I went on in Italy with Heinz Grill. And as you know, he approaches everything not just from a physical point of view. Obviously, yoga's got lots of physical benefits, but he approaches everything from the point of view of body, mind, spirit, the whole person. So our theme is how we can help the immune system from this holistic angle. And I want to present 2 hypotheses which Heinz Grill put forward, which are very unusual and come more from the spiritual way of looking things in addition to just the physical. And the first hypothesis is that the immune system, it's normally regarded just as something that has to reject foreign things. We've got all these fighter cells in our bodies which have to reject any foreign influences that come. And Heinz Grill's hypothesis is that we can also look at the immune system as being a system which has to integrate something new, because the immune system has to discern between what is our own, what is friendly to the body, what we can take in, what are good beneficial influences that can help us, things that we can take in, and what is foreign, what we need to reject. So rather than just looking at the immune system as being a rejecting system, we can look at it also as being an integration system. That's the first hypothesis. The second hypothesis, and I'm going to link these 2 together, is that and he put this forward as a completely new idea, the immune system is connected with the whole chest area, and particularly the spine, the upper part of the spine, the so-called thoracic spine. So we can think of our thorax. If you think of an insect that has this thorax, that is this region here, and the part of the spine here, which is so often blocked, that if that part of the spine becomes more flexible and more healthy, then the immune system, this integration system, can function better. And I want to stay with this idea for the whole of the 6 weeks. We're going to focus on this upper part of the body, the chest and the thoracic spine. We're going to bring more mobility into it, more awareness to it, more strength, more flexibility. And also we're going to experience the effects of that. What are the different effects, and how can it affect, in particular, this ability that we have to integrate and reject in an appropriate way, this discerning ability that we can develop that helps the immune system. So would you like to come up to a standing position, and we'll start with the first exercise. So we'll start with the standing half moon, which is a very simple exercise, and it's based on learning to lift up the thorax, to really take hold of the thorax. Let's just first of all take the arms lightly above the head, keeping the head free and the neck free. Don't try and stretch too far to start with, because the important thing is that we start with a relaxation. With a relaxed face, free breath, and good stable feet on the ground as well. Let's just become aware of this whole region that we're going to be working with. We can call it our thorax. So the whole region that the rib cage encloses. Let's begin just gently to grow in that region, as if you're lifting your thorax up, and then take the hands down again. So we're going to do this several times. So we're starting gently and building up. Just roll down
and hang forwards. Face relaxed, neck and shoulders relaxed. And then swinging freely back up once again. Just keeping really light and free in the upper body, head, neck, relaxed breath flowing freely. Take your awareness to that thorax area, the rib cage area, this part just underneath your shoulders, growing a little bit more right up. And then relaxing down. Let's come down and hang down once again. Free breath. Face relaxed, neck relaxed, head relaxed. And come back up once again. Just take the hands down by your sides. So we'll do it just standing on one foot. Keep the weight on the back foot. And if you've got your left foot back, you can take your left arm forwards. Just once again, we'll take our awareness to that same region, that thorax area, good stable back foot. And think of quite actively, one thing we want to develop is the ability to take hold, to really take hold of that thorax and lift it up. Quite a good active stretch. Then back down again. Let's change over to the other side. So take your right foot back, left foot forward, and then raise up your right arm, keeping the weight on the back foot. Be aware of this region here. Don't try and lift too quickly, but make sure you're aware of that region first. Keeping your breath relaxed and free. Grow from that region, actively stretching right up. And then come back down again. Okay, take your feet together. Let's roll down and hang forwards once again. Just stay hanging down. Let's become a little bit more aware, a bit more conscious in this forward bend now. We've got stable feet and legs. And we've got completely relaxed head, neck and shoulders and arms. So we could say that we're dividing up our activity into different components. Stability down below, relaxation up above. And come right back up into the standing half moon with both feet together once again. So let's stay with this divided structure, firm feet and relaxed head and arms. Be aware of your breath, be aware of the lungs, be aware of that movement of your lungs in the rib cage. So that thorax area has a lot of breath happening. And grow a little bit more now in the thorax, a little bit higher, lifting that thorax up. And come back down. Okay, let's come to the swallow. We're going to work towards the scales, but before we do the actual scales, I want to just do the swallow so that we can develop a really good activity in our legs. So let's take one foot forward. Just have a good lifting out of this pelvic region. We're taking our awareness a bit lower down now for this position. Good lifting out of the pelvic region. And come back. Oh dear, not like that. Come actively back, growing into your back leg. Keep breathing. Good active pushing right back. Return again. Okay, well done. Take a step onto the other foot, lifting right up. Good active lift out of the pelvis. Hands can point backwards. and grow actively back into that back leg. And then return again. So one theme that I want to bring in today, which we're going to build on again and again, which actually can help the freeing of this area, is this divided structure that I've already touched on. So just now we had this idea that we want to be very strong and active in our legs and really free in the upper body. Can you just have a look at how this looks in this swallow position? I'm going to put more activity into the leg, but at the same time I'm going to stay more free in the head area. So good firmness, pushing into that leg. So really good, strong activity, but we're keeping the head much more free. Strong activity in the leg, free head. And return again. Okay, so would you like to try that? Take one step forward. Have a good active lifting up. And then push into that back leg and then really increase the strength in that leg so you can lift it up really quite high and keep the free, relaxed face, neck, shoulders and chest. Free breath. Okay, and return. Right. So let's come actually to the scales. And we're going to do the scales again with this divided structure, this subdivided structure, that rather than having too much tension in the top half, we're going to really put a lot of activity in the legs and keep the arms flowing a bit more freely. So just have a look before you do it. I'm going to come first into the swallow and have a really good strong activity in the legs and feel that contrast of more lightness in the head and the arms. So I'd like to have a go at that. Good step. Good lifting. Keep that strong activity in the legs. Pushing right the way actively back into your leg. And then come forwards with your arms streaming out, but keeping really a good lightness. See if you can be aware of that difference. And then return again. Okay, and the other side. Good step. Lifting up out of your hips. A really good active pushing back through that leg. And then coming forwards with more lightness. And return again. Coming up. So I've introduced this idea that we divide up the body into different components. If we can do that, we can more easily take hold of our rib cage. Let's come back to the standing half moon. We're going to do it in this divided way, that the legs are really firm, the arms are really light, and what that means is that we can then really take hold of our rib cage to grow up. We'll do it like that in those 3 steps. Take your feet together, good firm legs, take the arms up, keeping them really light and free, face relaxed, free breath. And what that means is that you can then take hold of your rib cage and really actively grow. Keep the breath free. You can feel that breath really moving fully and freely. And come back down again. Let's come into the standing head to knee position a little bit more actively this time, with the same idea that if we've got a good structure, the differentiated structure with firm legs and a lightness in the hands and the head, then we can really grow more easily in the middle. Just have a look at this first and keep this real lightness with the arms, firmness in the legs, and as I come down, keeping that firmness in the legs, that lightness in the hands, it enables me to stream out in the middle through the spine. And we can really lengthen the upper part of the spine. We can think of the upper part of the spine because that's our focus for this evening. Right, would you like to have a go at that? So taking the arms up, firm feet, breath, relaxed, face relaxed. Come down into the forward bend. And now just stay in that position. So good firm legs, feet firmly on the ground. And the fingers light, the head looking gently forwards. And then in the middle, you can lengthen your spine. The upper spine in particular, you can be aware of that region. No weight on the fingers, just keep them resting on the ground. Relax down again, hanging forwards, and come freely back up to a standing half moon, growing up once again, right the way up, and take the hands down. So I'd like to do these two movements, same movements, but a bit faster and more dynamically this time. And the reason we're going to do this is because the learning step is to take hold of this thorax each time. So every time we stretch up, we'll take hold of the thorax and then relax it again. And we'll come down. The movements can happen very gently, but in the positions we can take hold and then relax again. Then we can gently flow up, take hold and relax. So that's the learning step. Each time we do a stretch, we take hold of our rib cage and really stretch it, then relax before the next movement. Hands together. Take the arms very lightly and gently up, keep the breath free, and now take hold of your rib cage to stretch it, and then relax it again. Take the hands down, forwards. Now you can take hold and actively stretch out, and then relax again. Make sure you're relaxed before you come up, so you can come up really nicely and lightly. Come on, and then now an active taking hold and stretching once again, and then relaxing again. Take the hands down, just gently come down. Now take hold and actively stretch out, then relax again. Just a free light movement out. We're going to keep going with just a few regular movements so you can get practicing, get the hang of it, and also it builds up more energy by repeating it. Relax again, come down, take hold and stretch forwards, and then relax. Swing gently and freely up, stretch actively up, then relax again, take the hands down, come forwards, actively stretch out, right the way out, relax again, come freely back up, actively grow and stretch, and finally take the hands by your sides. So depending on your level, you can do that exercise more times, more vigorously, faster, or slow it down and do fewer repetitions. But it's a very good energizing exercise for learning to really take hold of this rib cage. I'd like to come back, having done that, I'd like to come back to the scales one more time, now that we've activated this taking hold ability a bit more, so that we can really have more focus now on the rib cage as we do the scales, that this area here is really holding and supporting us with a good firmness. So let's take a good step forwards. Let's be aware this time of that rib cage and really take hold. Then push actively back into your back leg, good firm movement backwards. Take the arms lightly forward, but be aware of that rib cage area so you can stream out forwards from that rib cage. Keep breathing, face relaxed. Come back again, take the foot down, good firm feet, light hands. From the middle, actively take hold and stretch up, and then take the hands down. Do the same thing on the other side. We'll take a good firm step. Be aware of that rib cage. We can take hold and lift it up. Go actively into the back leg. Take the arms lightly forward, keeping the face relaxed, the breath free. But be aware that your rib cage is the center of an activity of streaming out forwards and backwards. Keep breathing. And return again. Take the foot down. Be aware of that rib cage. Light fingers, light head. Grow from the rib cage right the way up. And then relax. Just come down and hang forwards like this. And come down to a sitting position. So I want to come to a position that is very important for this rib cage area, and this is the fish. And the fish once again has this important theme of a subdivided structure, that we can have the legs, the chest and the head all doing different things. Let's start in this sitting position like this, so that we can build up that right ability to stretch the thoracic spine. Just lean back onto one arm like this and raise the other arm up. So you're leaning at an angle. So what we want to do is lift this area here, the ribs, just gently, so we can start to lean on the back arm a bit as we lift up. You think of lifting up your breastbone. So we develop an activity again in our thorax. Come back down again, change the arms around. Still leaning at an angle. Keep the breath flowing freely. Think of lifting up your thorax as you actively stretch. Keep breathing. And then come down again. Good. Okay, so the fish is a position where we want to be aware of different parts of the body doing different things. Very often we can sort of be very sunk in with our chest like this, sitting over our computer or our steering wheel or whatever it is we're doing, and our chest is sunk into the body, and obviously that's not going to be any good for our breathing on the one hand, because our lungs are just closed in, and also it's not very good for our mood. I think we instinctively can feel that if we're like this, we tend to go like this more if we're feeling more in a sort of depressed and introverted kind of state. And if we feel in that kind of state where we sort of can't think clearly and can't make any decisions and can't think about the future. Whereas the minute the chest opens out more, we feel in ourselves more confident, more hopeful, more joyful. So all of these things are obviously going to intuitively can feel that these are going to help our physical health as well as our mental health if we have this more positive and open outlook. Let's just practice those two positions. You can slouch in like this so you can feel that position, and just notice how your breathing is when you do this, when you really just be aware of it. And then as we straighten up and literally lift up our thorax, taking hold of it once again, we can open out the chest. And you can support yourself on your hands again, so you can really open out the chest and feel how your breath is given a much fuller, freer ability to flow. And then just relax again. So I think you all know how to do the fish. In particular, what I'd like to focus on this evening is this subdivision, how we can have on the one hand the legs that flow along the ground. Then as our second thing, you can just watch while I do this. This second thing is this active lifting of the chest. And the third thing is the dropping back of the head. Those three parts are doing different things: legs, chest, and head. Flowing, lifting, and dropping back. So would you like to come into this lying position with your arms right underneath your body? You can have the hands next to each other on the floor. Straighten out your legs, feet together. Just keep the breath flowing freely. And before you come into the actual position, let's just become aware of these three parts. The legs, they're together, they flow along the ground. The chest, we can be aware of. In particular, we can be aware of the breathing happening in the chest. And then become aware of your head. Just make a mental note that when you do the fish, the head is going to relax. It's going to drop back completely relaxed. So now you can come up on your elbows, right up off the ground like this. And you can lift your chest up. Take hold of it once again. You lift it right up. Then you drop the head right back and lower back down so that the top of the head is resting lightly on the ground. So be aware that your legs are relaxed, your chest is lifted, and your head is relaxed. Come back down and relax again. Okay, you can just hug your knees into your chest as a counter pose. So I'd like to do the fish a few times because it's my focal exercise for today, and we can focus on different things as we do the fish. The thing that I'd like to focus on this time is that we really find a centered activity in this region. So the region we're talking about, the thoracic spine, between the shoulder blades. When I say a centered activity, we can imagine that we're really focusing and concentrating our activity at that part of the spine. That's the most concentrated point. From that point, the head drops back relaxed, the legs flow away more. So let's do it once again with this picture. We're gathering. In fact, what we can do to prepare for that, you can do this just sitting up, or you can kneel if you prefer. We can take our arms just gently back like this so that you can feel a kind of squeezing between your shoulder blades. You can become conscious of that. A tightening, a squeezing in.
Okay, and relax again. So let's do in the actual fish position. Come down once again, take the arms right underneath, and you can do a bit of that squeezing before you start. You can try and really draw your shoulder blades a bit more together. But the legs, remember, is dividing up our structure. The legs just relaxed, flowing away, not completely relaxed, but they're just in a neat flowing position. The head should be really relaxed. So come up on your elbows, take hold of your rib cage and lift it actively right the way up again. Drop the head back, lower it gently down onto the floor. And now, as you hold this position, you can focus more on this really centered activity in the thoracic spine. The legs flow away, the head relaxes. The thoracic spine has a centered contraction. And come back down and relax again. And once again, you can hug your knees into your chest. Okay, so I'd like to do the fish one more time with one more thought. And this time, I'd like you to become more aware of the breathing. I mentioned this earlier on, that when the chest is sunk into the body like this, our breathing becomes more constricted. Whereas if we can open out our chest, it gives more space for the lungs. But we need to become conscious of that, because otherwise we can tend to not breathe as fully and freely as we could. So this time I'd like you to become aware of your breathing, and particularly up in this area here, the collarbone area is can get an unusual flow of breath in it in this position. And another thing that we can maybe notice if we listen carefully is that our breathing acquires a more sensitive kind of quality, particularly if we do the movement sensitively, if we do it with flowing legs, relaxed head, a more centered activity in the middle. If we bring this more refined, sensitive way of doing the movement into our practice, then we can also feel that more sensitive, refined quality in our breathing. So can you lie down once again, one final time for the fish. Take the arms underneath your body, palms together. Bring your legs together. Just listen to your breathing before you start, before you come into the position. So you can feel the movement in your rib cage. And you can maybe feel it, or maybe not. Just notice how it is in your collarbone area, whether there is any sign of any breath flow right up in the collarbones. So now let's come up onto the elbows, lift up the rib cage once again, right up, drop the head gently back, and come right down into the fish. So the legs flow away, the head is relaxed, and the rib cage is actively lifted up with a good centering behind on the spine. So now let's listen to our breathing. Does it have that more sensitive quality, particularly in the collarbones? Can we really allow the breath to flow more fully and freely into the body? Is it easier? Is it lighter? And come back down again. Just relax, lying on your back.
And just remain listening to your breath a little bit longer. I introduced the idea at the beginning that our immune system is an integration system. It needs to integrate new experiences or new influences or new substances into the body, as well as rejecting things which are unwanted. And we can feel this aspect of integration in our breathing. We can take in new breath. We can expel old breath more fully and freely if we've really worked our thoracic region in the body. So, would you like to come up to a sitting position? And we're going to come to the head to knee position over one leg. Now, some of you will be familiar with the fact that normally when we do this position, we focus on the second center, but today I want to do it with a focus on the third center. More as that we're going to do the head to knee with two legs in a minute, but we'll start with one leg. But with both of these positions, we're going to focus on this taking hold of the thorax, again, taking hold of this rib cage area so that we can carry it forward. Still with this subdivided structure that we've already had. So good grounded legs and good light hands. Take the arms up and be aware that your breath still has that free lightness to it. And let's start to come forwards like this, just into an angle so that you don't bend down too much, but can have this idea that your rib cage, it forms a stable and active center which we can move, which we can take forwards. Let's come back again. Again, we're going to do a few repetitions, so we'll build it up gradually. Take the hands down and change over to the other side. Firm base. There's one leg, you can't even see, can you? I've got one leg straighten, the other leg bent. Take the arms up, keeping that lightness. You were facing over the straightened leg. Face is relaxed, leg is well grounded, and the thorax is the part that we're carrying out, not too far, but so that you can keep that openness. That's very good. Okay, come back again. Coming up a little bit more and down. So we'll do a few repetitions, and our aim, you change your legs again, our aim is to take hold of the thorax and carry it outwards, not to bend down. Keeping this good divided structure, legs on the ground, hands free, head free, coming into this diagonal line and then actively carrying the thorax out again, a little bit farther, back up, stretching up, right, higher, right up, and take the hands down, and then change sides once again, change the legs around, be aware of this thorax, grounded legs, light arms, come into this diagonal, keep breathing, and then actively stretching out, and come back again, right the way up. Take the hands down. Okay, this time we'll come right down, taking the hands down to your foot or your leg, wherever you can manage, but really be aware that the emphasis is on carrying the thorax out, not on rounding. So, grounded legs, light hands, you can come forwards, and we'll just continue to grow from the rib cage area right the way out, far out, and then eventually you can take your hands down to your foot or leg. Just remain aware of that rib cage, that it's growing out, nose towards the toes. free breath. Coming back up once again. Take the arms up and grow a bit more. And take the hands down. Other side. Be aware of this thorax, grounded legs. Coming forwards, a good lengthening from the spine. Right the way out, right the way far forwards. And take the hands right down into that position, nose towards the toes. Breath flowing freely. And come back up once again. Both arms up. Take the hands down. Let's come into the position over both legs. Straightening the legs out. Take the arms up. Let's come into the starting position. Growing forwards at an angle. Be aware once again that you're carrying your thorax out, flowing out through the arms to the fingertips. And then eventually you can take the hands right down to the feet, nose directed towards the toes. Keep breathing. Let's hold it a little bit longer. Be aware of that chest area, that thorax area that is stretching out. And then come back again. Both arms up. Lifting up your chest, lifting up your thorax right up high. Streaming upwards. And take the hands down. Right, so we're going to come to one more backward bending position, and this is the cobra. Cobra is a position where again we can really work at opening that chest area. So would you like to lie on your front? So let's start then with a few preparatory movements. We can have the hands directed back like this. And let's remain aware of this area across the back, the thoracic spine that we want to become aware of. And as you direct your fingers backwards, you can open up your chest so that you're using that part of your back. Keep breathing. Okay, back down again. Okay. Take the hands underneath your shoulders. Feel the legs and the pelvis on the ground. Feel the chest and the breath free. And let's just come up a little way, however far you can comfortably come up. And then back down again. Let's do a few of these movements just in a more playful way, because very often with the cobra, people tend to kind of push and shove and heave themselves up. And if we can use the arms less, but we want to use a combination, you can be quite sort of fixed with your pelvis and also then using your spine, then you don't need to push as much with the arms. So let's work on that. You can feel the pelvis on the ground, just keeping that sense of it being anchored. And then you can come up, right up, pressing the pelvis down and using the spine more than the arms. Come back down again. Let's just do that a few times, getting some more playfulness in. Be aware of your breath this time. Make sure it keeps flowing.
pelvis anchored in the ground. Come right up, breath flowing freely, right up high, and then back down again. Same thing once again, just make sure your breath is free. Be aware of the pelvis. Press the pelvis down and come right up freely. Free breath, right up high, push it right up. Don't worry about using the arms a little bit. As long as the shoulders don't go right up to the ears, that's the important thing. Okay, and back down again. Let's just push into child's pose. So we'll do the cobra again, and this time we're going to take hold in a more intensive way from this area. So can you have a look this time before you do it? And I'm going to come up a little way first, like this. And now I'm going to take my awareness back to that same old thoracic region. And I'm going to take hold. Now you can see the legs end up spreading a bit more apart. That doesn't matter. As you take the legs go down more, you can take hold and open up the chest more. So it's literally, I was taking hold at this same region and really trying to do that same movement that we've been working at a lot this evening. So do you like to come down once again? Face relaxed, breath flowing freely. And come up into a starting position, wherever you can come quite easily. Make sure your neck is free. Now direct your awareness to that same old rib cage region. And now you can take hold, you can let your legs go down more into the ground as you actively open up your rib cage, pushing the rib cage forwards, being aware of the thoracic spine. Let the breath flow freely. And come back down once again. And push back into the child's pose. And come back up to a kneeling position. So I'd like to finish off then with just a very simple standing exercise. This is an exercise in the fish. We directed our awareness to this collarbone area here, and we became aware of that sensitive flow of breath. And I'd like to do a similar thing now. If you take your hands onto your collarbones like this, feet together. Just be aware, first of all, that the feet have a gentle, stable foothold on the ground. And then be aware that your rib cage is lifted up a little bit, so your chest is open. And be aware then of this collarbone area that you can feel your fingers touching. So this position directs the breath quite high up into that collarbone region. And then we can unfold our hands right out like this, up into that space. We can do that movement a few times. The awareness once again coming to that sense of that sensitive breathing that can happen in the collarbone area. Be aware of the breath. Open out the hands. So in the collarbone area,
we can feel a real receptiveness to in our breathing, a receptive, sensitive quality. Back again, take the hands to the collarbones, be aware of the breathing. We can say that our breath is more easily able to flow in, to become integrated. This receptive sense of free, open breath. Take the hands back down and then relax them. So could you sit down to finish off on your mat, if necessary on a cushion, sit in any position in which you can have a comfortable upright spine. That's the important thing. It doesn't matter what position your legs are in, but I'd like you to have I'd like your spine to be really upright so that there's no restriction on your breathing, because if we're too bent over like this, then we can't breathe properly. So I'd like you to be able to feel that this thorax that we've been working on all evening is really free and lifted up. So just become aware of your contact with the ground first of all. Contact with the ground always gives us a sense of having a calm base. Then become aware of your spine. Your spine can flow upwards. And now in particular become aware of the thoracic spine. So that's the top half of your spine. Your thorax with its spine. And also you can be aware of the chest and the breathing that you can feel in the chest. Just feel that movement of the breath in and out. Shoulders are relaxed. Let's come back to our hypothesis, which is that if the chest is very free, then our immune system, which is an integration system, it integrates the new, can also work more freely. Just remain aware of your chest and aware of your breathing, aware of the receptiveness of your breathing. The chest is free. The immune system can also integrate more freely. Okay, so we'll finish our session there, and you can unmute yourselves whenever you're ready.